Hey there, it's Heather from the Business to Brand Accelerator and the Patronus High Growth Business Development Agency. Now, I wanted to put together this quick video answering the question, when is the best time to work on the development and the growth of my business? Now, some people will say, well, you should be working on your business all the time, and there is some truth in that. But let's say that you really want to up the ante and you want to take your business to the next level. When's the best time to do that? Also, when's the ideal time to work on your marketing? Because believe me, I've seen a lot of business owners get totally overwhelmed with their marketing, and they end up with this kind of scattergun approach, which is getting them very inconsistent results in terms of sales. And also, when's the best time to do an email marketing campaign for your customers? So all of these questions I am going to answer now and help you along, because I've put together this little video to help prevent those feelings of overwhelm and that guilt trip about working on your business and implementing your marketing when you're busy working in your business. Okay, and I'm going to be sharing with you this simple technique that's going to bring you some clarity and organization in your business so that you can organize the best time in your business for your business development and your marketing opportunities. You know, this is a little exercise I use with my clients, and it's called the timeline planning exercise, and it's an opportunity for you to work with the flow of your business instead of against it. So let's get started. What I want you to do is I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen. And what I want you to think about for a moment is the flow of your industry in terms of sales. Now, I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. If you're a florist in the UK, it's really quite simple to map out the flow of sales and busyness in floristry. And in fact, actually, the gift market in general tends to mirror this as well. So for example, typically, I know that sales dip in October and November of each year, and they don't start to go up until sort of really mid-December in time for Christmas. And then we have this mad Christmas rush. In January, there's a lot of funeral work. In February, it's Valentine's Day, so very, very busy then. In March and April time, we've got like a combination of Mother's Day and Easter, depending on when Easter falls. And then throughout May to September, it's the peak of the wedding season. And I could also add in the events calendar as well into that. So that's also got seasonal peaks throughout the year. So in your industry, what is the flow of sales and kind of the busyness? When are you really, really busy? When are people buying your product or service? And if you've been trading for like more than 1 year, I mean, take a look at your sales figures and notice the month-on-month trading. You know, the busy times and the downtime, okay? Hopefully, you'll have work coming in throughout the year, but there are going to be peaks and troughs. I mean, this is where your activity planning comes in. And when you do this, you'll save yourself time and effort and money, and you're going to boost your sales because of this process. So you can see this graph now. So take an A4 piece of paper, and we're going to do this intuitive timeline graph, okay? So what I want you to do is write the months of the year along the bottom axis, like you can see here. And then just write the numbers, I know, 0 to 10 if you want, in the left-hand side axis. And after you've done this, I want you to kind of intuitively or accurately, if you've got your sales figures to hand, map out the flow of your workload. You know, which is the time that you're very, very busy, and try and correlate those with your sales figures if you can. When are you really busy? When does work tend to tail off? When do people need what you're selling? When is it the buy kind of season? Okay. Now, once you've done that, you should create a graph, just like this one, okay? And this is going to be like the heartbeat of your particular business. And we can start looking at it for trends and downtime and busy periods, okay? And you're going to be using this graph to plot the best times of the year to communicate with your customers. You're going to be using this graph to map out the best times to work on your business in terms of business development and planning. And you're also going to be using the graph as your guideline for strategy and implementation. So when you look at your graph, okay, what I want you to do is notice the peaks and troughs. Now, you might want to kind of replicate this graph a few times. I mean, one of the calendars can be used for planning your email and communication campaigns. And if you're, looking for the period just before the peak, so if you can see on this graph now, we've got a period between October and sort of January, really, where it's quite flat, okay, in terms of sales. There's a little, it does go up a little bit, as you can see, between January and the beginning of February, and then it drops off into March, and then you've got a plateau just before April. So when I look at this graph, I'm thinking, well, it would be really foolish to do any type of activity in April really you've got a dip, as you can see, in July, and it goes up towards August, September, and then it tails off for October. Okay, so if I was looking at this graph now, what I would be recommending for this particular business would be, okay, so you're going to do the planning and strategy work between October and December. We're going to be starting implementing all of that strategy work in January. Okay, there's another opportunity to test and monitor stuff in February, because there's a little bit of sort of tail off there. And then really from the beginning of March, end of February, beginning of March, we're going to be implementing a marketing campaign, okay, in the run up to April, when it starts, when, you know, the sales start ramping up to that peak. I mean, you certainly would not be doing anything in April and May, and maybe not June of that year, would you? Because you'd be running around like a crazy fool, and you'd get completely overwhelmed, and it's not going to make sense. So can you see how, you know, looking at this graph as an example, you can see that where I've highlighted these particular patterns where you have an opportunity to actually work on your business. And from that point of view, you know, this is a really good way of activity planning. Okay, you can take stock of everything. You can launch marketing campaigns at specific times that you know just before your customers are going to want to buy your product, you're going to be front of mind for them. So hopefully this exercise has helped you to plan for a successful year ahead, and it's going to prevent that overwhelm and panic that you might have experienced if you don't have this type of planner in place. And after all, you're going to be working with the flow of your business instead of against it. So until next time, thanks for watching.